In a brand new era, Cyclops leads a new team of X-Men that are taking the fight to the villains, saving mutants, and living back in a world that hates and fears them.
What do they call you? Wheels?
Hi everyone, it's One Watcher X here, and the From the Ashes era is finally upon us. It's taken months, but it's finally here, and X-Men issue 1 is out. So join me in this video where I break it all down for you. Written by Jed MacKay with art by Ryan Stegman, the book opens X months later with the X-Men's new base, the Factory. Chief Robbins of the local police department arrives to meet with Scott Summers, but is instead greeted with Beast. Cyclops is currently busy on a mission with the assault team in Santo Marco, a place that is significant to X-Men lore as Magneto overthrew the government in X-Men issue 4 and featured the very first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Juggernaut and Magik share one brain cell as they try and rock, paper, scissors their way into jumping first before they both go together and start wreaking havoc. Cyclops, Psylocke, Temper and Kid Omega soon join them for what looks to be a rescue mission. Back in Alaska, Beast is giving Chief Robbins the tour of the entire base when they bump into Glob Herman, my mortal nemesis, who is now in charge of growing crops and plant life. Robbins explains to Beast that many of the locals are angry and upset the X-Men have taken over the factory, as that meant that these people have lost their jobs. But Beast confronts her on the fact that this factory was responsible for building Sentinels. In fact, this base actually first appeared in Avengers issue 12, a Fall of the House of X tie-in that had the Avengers taking out the base as it was controlled by Orchis at the time. Hank lays it out to the chief why Cyclops chose Alaska as the X-Men's new base over anywhere else in the world, considering how remote it is. It's to build life where there was death. From the ashes of this Sentinel factory, the X-Men will build a home, after their last one was taken by these very Sentinels. But Beast doesn't remember that. Why? Well, let me do a quick explainer on what is exactly happening with Beast at the moment. So, during the last 5 years, Beast became a pretty big, terrible war criminal leading X-Force, and during its final arc, through Resurrection, a younger Beast was brought to life after the evil one was killed. This younger Beast has no memory past 1985, around the time he was an Avenger and a New Defender, which means he doesn't remember Krakoa, Avengers vs X-Men, the Decimation, the Legacy Virus, Onslaught, Inferno. You get the picture. But basically, at this point, he still thinks that Jean is dead the first time because X-Factor hasn't even happened yet. Now, of course, he's probably been brought up to speed by those around him, but that's 40 years of history that this Beast doesn't know. Meanwhile, in Santo Marco, Logan is chained up in a callback to Uncanny X-Men 261 and is being harvested by these villains in Orchis outfits, the main villains of the Krakoa era. It turns out that these villains are actually an Orchis remnant 4th school, humans who survived the AI takeover by Nimrod and believe that the 4th species will be a mixture of human, mutant, and AI. This is an evolution of the new X-Men villains, the U-Men, who wanted to harvest mutant bodies so that they could become the 3rd species. Cyclops then reveals that it's their mission to rescue 6 new mutants that have appeared on Cerebro. Psylocke rescues Logan whilst Quentin and IDA take out some Sentinels, and I really enjoy Temper's dialogue here. Her previous position in the Sabretooth series, where she was unjustly jailed in the pit, hasn't been forgotten, and she still remains untrusting of the X-Men, choosing to be an active role so no one else is failed like she was. As the team regroups, they are ambushed by 6 4th school agents. At the factory, Beast is introducing Chief Robbins to Zorn, the X-Men's healer, and a really complicated man that we are not getting into in this video. Beast reassures the Chief that mutants aren't monsters at all, and that's when Magneto makes his entrance, hovering in a chair, very Professor X-like. He notes how the police officer reaches for a gun and clashes with Beast, who says that he is scaring her. Max says that him being scary made the original 5 X-Men strong enough to survive and be what they are today. And now, he's the dragon that is to be feared so that his children of the atom can be allowed to thrive. With Charles out of the picture, it is very interesting to see Max take over that Professor X role and have a more protective stance than I think Charles ever really had. In Santo Marco, these are no regular agents, but the 6 X genes that Cerebro had picked up earlier in adults. A big fight ensues with these new mutants having super speed, telepathy, matter manipulation, immovability, energy belts, and control over a black hole. Whilst they do seem powerful, the X-Men do gain the upper hand in the fight. as two mysterious shadowed figures watch on and comment on the facility. It was never meant to succeed, but the genetic material that they've provided is valuable to 3K, so the mysterious figures teleport themselves and the 6 new mutants out of there before the X-Men can take them away. Who is 3K? Well, we'll get to that in a bit. The 13 return to Alaska, where Logan is getting tired of losing and rebuilding and losing and rebuilding and losing and rebuilding. So he just decides to give up and go off into the wilderness. A clear setup for his solo series this September. Cyclops hands Beast an amputated arm of one of those 6 new mutants, and a new mystery begins with how 6 mutants activated at the same time in adults. The book ends with Scott and Hank on the roof discussing how important it is to build relationships with the locals, before we see this enormous frozen sentinel looming over the town. But what exactly happened in the X-Men time gap? Why is Magneto in a chair? Why is there a frozen sentinel over the town? All unanswered questions I'm sure we'll learn more about over time. This issue also features a bonus digital page which introduces 3K, a new villainous organisation. It has 4 points. The Zealot, who believes that the 4th school was a waste of time. The Doctor, who finds value in the 4th school's experiments. The Means, who's more worried about the interference of the X-Men, and the Chairman, who demands patience as their great work is being built. So, who are these people? Well, I'm not exactly sure yet, but there have been some clues pointing towards their identities. The Doctor, for example, who watched the X-Men fight earlier in the issue, has a follower with longish hair, who refers to the Doctor as Mother. Take that with their distinctive neckpiece, and this is pretty clear to be Astra. Now, Astra is a mutant scientist who first appeared in Uncanny X-Men 366 and was retconned to be part of the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but she left before they ever fought the X-Men. She is also the creator of Joseph, Magneto's clone, who I believe is with her in this issue. As for the others, it's less clear. The Zealot might be Cassandra Nova, based on their boldness. The Means reminds me of an MCU Namor, so perhaps this is a redesigned Atuma? And the Chairman looks to be wearing a Cerebro and seems very robotic, so maybe this is a Cerebro that's become sentient? Who knows? But who do you think is involved in 3K? Any suggestions? Let me know down below in the comments. Personally, I thought this issue was pretty good. I particularly enjoyed the character voices for the X-Men and the character interactions, and I was pleasantly surprised by how referential it was of previous eras, from all the new X-Men references to the X-Men using the Marauder ship from Marauders, and the whole thing with Temper and being trapped in the pit. While I don't think that this was a groundbreaking first issue, I do think that the introduction of 3K and the implication of more obscure X-Men characters is particularly interesting. So I'm going to rank this 7. But what did you think of the issue? The character, the story, the art? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video.